Hi, welcome everybody. Today we'll be talking about recruiting masters. Every team leader and business owner wants to know, how do you recruit and retain today's top agents? We all know it's not about the splits, so recruiting masters today know they have to highlight their culture, training and productivity tools, amongst many others. How do you identify motivation, key personality traits, and other criteria that are crucial for team fit? Learn tips, tricks, and insight from these three recruiting masters. I'm Casey McLeod, your managing broker of California, and today I'm joined by three of our incredible partners who are each recruiting masters. First, we have David Cohen of City Real Estate. David quickly built his team up to 14 agents that produce $160 million in sales volume last year. Welcome, David.
Thank you.
And next we have Nicole Solari from Napa and Solano counties. Nicole is the owner of Level Up Real Estate with a team of 12 agents producing 285 units last year. And also on the call, we have Samantha Taub of Portfolio Real Estate, who has a team that skyrocketed to 21 agents producing 334 units a year. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you, Casey.
Thanks.
So I know we all understand the importance of office culture. It plays an important role in the success of everyone on the team, and it can impact the type of agent that you look to add into your office. The right fit will lead to the further success of your company, but the wrong hire can deteriorate the culture, upset others on the team, and possibly lead to agents leaving. With that said, let's learn a little bit about the environment that you have created in each of your offices. So what are the characteristics that define your office culture, and what type of programs do you implement to help define this culture? Nicole, let's start with you.
Well, everything has changed with COVID. So we were really big on getting together quarterly. We have what's called a happy fund. Nobody's happy to contribute to it, but everybody's happy to use it. So the way that we fill that fund is I actually find my agents when they do what they're not supposed to be doing. They don't make it to call night. They don't, make their minimum number of connects, things like that. And they have to put it into the virtual jar, so to speak. And we use that fund each quarter to do something really exciting together, something that's, usually around team building. We're not just going to go out to the bar and get drunk off the $200 fund, but we try to do something that's going to really help us get to know each other and respect each other a little bit better.
Awesome, thank you. And David, what about you? How do you define your office culture, and what type of events do you do?
Well, I think it's, recruiting is only half the battle. It's retaining is the other. And I think it's important to have a culture where people are having fun. We also do outings once a quarter. If it's a dinner, we had a ping pong tournament. You want the agents to like each other. You want the agents to trust each other. And there's no better way for that to happen than for them to get to know each other outside of a work capacity. So just having events that, people talk about things that are not necessarily work related, I think builds morale in the office.
Awesome, thank you. And Samantha?
So our office culture is just family oriented. All of our agents are really young, hungry, and driven. So we all get along a lot. They come into the office, they eat together, they help each other on transactions, and we just have weekly meetings now. We have Monday night meetings, and we just collaborate, and whatever they need, we're educating them hands-on. But we're always there for each other. We do team events. We used to do the Sacramento Kings, and then we go out. Like yesterday, one of our agents closed on her first house. It was a monumental moment. A few of us agents all showed up, to congratulate her, and it's just a very family oriented. We just love each other and hanging out with each other. On recruiting, I haven't had to recruit anybody. All of our agents are by referrals or word of mouth about us. Like yesterday, I just hired another agent. Somebody referred her to our company. I have never met her. So it's just all by referrals, because they see all the success in closing. They want to join and want us to educate them and be part of the team.
Well, and that shows how well the office culture is working if your agents are out there recruiting for you.
Yes.
So next, we want to know, How to identify an agent's personality traits and their motivation, to find out, what their keys to success are in growing your team. So what are the top questions that you ask agents when you're interviewing? David?
I look for agents that are hungry. It's really easy to find an agent who is already producing, but is stagnant to where they are. I'm looking for an agent that wants to grow their business. And there's no better way to grow their business if they're hungry, if they need a commission check, they need a sale. I think those are usually the best agents. You can't teach hunger. You can teach someone the details of being a real estate agent. So that's something I look for is the desire, the will, someone who wants to grow their business.
And Samantha, what are the top questions you ask?
The number one question is, what's their why? Why do they want to get into real estate? Why are they doing it? What is their biggest motivation? And if I get to there, then I would know if they're the right fit for the office or not, and if they would be part of our team. So most of them are all, their why is their kids and their family, and they just want to build up their own portfolio assets. So each of our agents, most of them are all brand new, and it's easier to educate them, teach them, and just guide them and mentor them the right way from the beginning. So I don't think we've ever we've recruited a couple of seasoned agents, but they were not that top of a producer, but now they are. So that's where we're at.
Awesome. And Nicole, what are the top questions you ask when you're interviewing?
So I was short on my first answer because I know Sam is the culture guru. So just a quick plug for her. If anyone wants to see what really awesome team culture looks like, go follow Portfolio Real Estate on Facebook, and you'll get everything that you need out of the session from just scrolling through Sam's page.
I love you, Nicole.
Oh, me too. So this is my wheelhouse though. So I love interviewing candidates. Like I pretty much will take an interview with anybody that wants to talk, just because I like to get to know people, and you just never know if someone's actually going to be the right fit. So my interviews are pretty structured. They're pretty fun for me. I'm not necessarily sure they're fun for the candidate, but depending on who they are, we do get into some really interesting conversations. So I always start out the interview process with the first question of, how did you prepare for the interview today? And I love asking this question up front because it just helps me understand like the type of person that they are. Are they the person that came in completely unprepared? Or the kind of person who then says, I've had this happen, hold on, and they turn around and they pull out like 100 pages of notes that they took on the company, on me. They've got printed pictures of me and my kids, like super weird stuff. So it really speaks volumes to the type of person that you're getting to know. Then the second question that I always go into, which that first question can really, I take notes and you can really touch back on a lot of other things. But the second one that I ask is, what's more important to you, fixing a client's problem or the client having a good experience? And I love this question because there's really no right answer. I've had some wrong answers. I'm just gonna say anecdotally, I've heard some really bad answers, but there's really no right answer. And you wanna kind of see their problem solving skills. You wanna see what type of person they are. Are they that people pleaser, or are they more of the, person like me that's like problem fix, problem fix, problem fix? And I do that too because you want a good mix of people on your team. You want some good problem solvers, and then you also want some people who are overly highly empathetic to kind of balance that as well, so you can bounce ideas off of each other. And then I love this one because it just completely throws people off. I simply say, just teach me something. And that's usually followed up by a question by them, like, what did you say, or what do you want me to teach you, or what do you know? And I just say, just teach me something new. Teach me to juggle, teach me, a different language, just teach me something. And, the reason I ask this question is I want to see how they communicate when they're thrown off or thrown into a hairy situation. And then after those three questions, those are kind of the structured questions that I use. And of course, you can imagine that from those three questions, you can really dig in deep, and there's going to be a lot of follow-up to discuss. And then after that, I go into our DISC assessment.
Awesome. And so, obviously we've all grown and built successful teams. We've all experienced some growing pains along the way in building those teams and have learned from those experiences. So let's give a few lessons learned that our fellow partners on the call today can take back and implement in their recruiting strategies. So what mistakes have you made along the way, and what did you learn from them? And Samantha, we'll start with you on this one.
One thing I learned is don't hire friends. Friends are usually not the right fit if they're joining the company just for the wrong reasons. You want to hire where you can actually grow together. And if they're a team player, they're willing to go the extra miles. Sometimes friends will take advantage of you and they think they know it all already, and it's hard to train that, and you can hurt a friendship as well. So most of all of our agents that we've hired, we never really hung out with them or anything, but now I can't see my life without them. They all mean so much to me. They're all like my little brothers and sisters. A lot of them are my kids' age. I have two of them that just turned 20 this year, and I'm really proud of them. Even my kids don't want to do real estate, but they want to get into it. So I'm really proud of that. So don't hire friends, hire, like David says, the hungry, the willing, with the drive and the determination. They're going to go that much further. Some of my agents are business owners, and they have that business management skills already. And I tell all my team members, treat this as your business. If you want to make money, you got to put your time and effort in it. If you don't want to make money, then stay home. But they all, they treat it like their business. They have their goals. And I'm really proud of each of them.
That's awesome. And Nicole, how about you? What mistakes have you made along the way, and how have you learned from those?
This is hard because I've made so many mistakes, like so many. And I have to say all of them were learning lessons, so that's good. If they weren't, then I think there'd be a problem with me. But I would say that the biggest overall mistake that I've made is I was hiring people, not positions. So I would meet someone, I would really like them. I would say, oh my gosh, I want you. You're awesome. Like, you would fit in here. Let's create a position for you. And it would be something that I didn't need, or something that I didn't even really want. It might have even been in my wheelhouse, and I was giving up a piece of what I enjoy doing, and it just never worked out. Instead, I would just suggest that people be really super focused and clear on what they need to hire for. Have a job description, have KPIs, have details on what the day-to-day expectations look like when you're going into the hiring process. And I mean, before you even interview your first candidate, right? Like, you don't want to interview and then create the job description. You want to know what your pain points are, what your weaknesses are. If I come across something that I just know nothing about, like recently we hired for marketing because we started, getting really deep into like geofencing and geofarming and really crazy stuff that I like Googled and I still didn't understand. And I said, okay, here's something I know absolutely nothing about. It's a pain point for our business. It's something that we really need to focus on. We should hire for it. And so the first thing that we did is we created a job description, 2-page job description with KPIs. And regardless of who that person was that came in, I knew that if they didn't fit the criteria for the minimum criteria for the check boxes of what needs to be done in that role day to day, then I wasn't going to hire them no matter how much I liked them. And I actually had to tell my husband too, I'm like, if I like them and they're not right, you cannot let me hire them. So I had my accountability partner too.
Awesome. Well, that's always a good thing too, because you don't want to hire just because you like somebody and then not really have that position available for them. So the three of you have provided some excellent advice on growing your teams and have excellent systems in place, obviously. But lastly, do you have any other tips or tricks on recruiting that you'd like to share on the call today?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important in the recruiting process for agents or partners to leverage side. We are all boutique firms, and sometimes in competitive situations, that could be a disadvantage. But because we are in a big network, there's power in that. Use side as the marketing, the technology, the equivalent to a big company if you are at a disadvantage in that capacity. you want to have that right balance of saying that you are the boutique firm that has their ear to the ground in your market, but has the power of a big firm because of the network of Side.
Yeah, yesterday I told the new agent, I go, we are a small company, but we belong with Side, and the Side family is just ever growing. And if you network and you're in the workplace, you're in the Facebook, you can network with some of the most successful top realtors in California, Texas, and Florida, and you will not get that in any big box name, because they're all about themselves and not about the agents. I love Side and what it's doing. It promotes the partner and its agents so many different ways than other companies has.
Nicole?
I have a lot of tips. So I'm trying to think in my head which one to say, because listening to what David said earlier about retention really triggered something, and I started thinking about leadership. And I would say that when you're thinking about hiring, I think you should go in with the mindset of, you're going to have this cadence of accountability, not only to this person, but that person back to you. And it goes back to the checklist. It goes back to the KPIs. I just think that leadership not being an option when you're hiring should be like the number one mindset. Like, they need to come in knowing that you are not only the boss, but also the leader. And I have a visual that I can share that, I show the difference between a boss and a leader. There has to be like a mutual respect between the two of you. And I think you get that with leadership versus management, and, really finding that person that's going to come into your organization and respect you. So I always say trust but verify. That first meeting, the third meeting, the fifth meeting, you still may not be able to get to know someone. So do your reference checks, do backdoor reference checks. Because I don't know about you guys, but if I give a list of references, I'm going to give the best references possible. So I always do backdoor references. I go on LinkedIn and I see who we have as mutual connections and ask, who do you know, and really get to know, what's that person like to actually work with, without that list that they provided me.
That's a great idea. And also, I know, Nicole, you mentioned earlier the DISC assessment. What do you look for when you have a possible recruit take the DISC?
So it depends on the role. So for my associate agents, I really like an SI or an IS. So for those of you that aren't familiar with the DISC, D is the dominant personality. They're the driver. They're the go, go, go. They're me, right? Like the Energizer Bunny, blah, 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 go, 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 go. I don't care how you feel. Talk to your mom about it. And then there's the I, who is your social butterfly. Think like sorority, fraternity. They're the ones that are, constantly, how are you? Let's go have fun. And then you've got your S, which is like your steady Eddie. So their fear of change. They don't want like things that are volatile. And then you've got your C, which is that really detail oriented, high compliance person. So for associate agents, you want that steady Eddie, right? Because you don't want them, after 6 months and they've got a little bit of an ego to say, okay, see, I can go do this on my own. But you also want that I, because they're going to be the person that are going to be client interfacing the most. They're going to be the person that has that face-to-face with the clients most often. And so I feel like we've really honed in on people that have that really good SI or IS, but you don't want too high of an I, which I'm kind of getting in the weeds on the I thing. But if you have too high of an I, you're just going to have someone that just wants to chit chat and they're never going to close deals from you. And you're just going to wonder why they're showing, 27 buyers in their car this week, but none of them are writing contracts. So that's kind of the profile for that. And then for admin staff, I look for like more of a CS. So someone that's going to be high compliance, because I'm actually kind of a unicorn when it comes to DISC. I'm a DC, which for those of you that know what that means, it means I'm the Energizer Bunny, but I expect as I'm like zooming through everything to be neat and perfect. And if it's not, I'm going to like back up my little bunny drum and, whack you with it. So you don't want someone that's also really high D on your team if you're a D. I encourage every partner to take the DISC assessment. It's free, and David just did it, and I was surprised by his results, but I totally see it now. But everyone should know what they are so that they can hire, to what they are as a DISC as well.
Awesome. And David, I know you had mentioned before, when you're recruiting somebody and you're talking about splits, something that a lot of agents don't remember is, their franchise fee, that they may be paying at their other broker. Do you want to go in a little bit of detail on that?
Yeah, so most of the agents that I'm recruiting are at a big box realtor, real estate company, and there at all those companies there's an admin fee. It's anywhere from 4 to 6%. Well, when we're recruiting at Side, there is no admin fee. So when you're talking about commissions or splits, if it's a 70, 80, 90% split, you have a 5%, let's just say, split to play with. So the net is going to be 5% greater than whatever company that they're coming from. So just know that you have that 5% to play with. So if they say, well, I'm sorry, you can't match whatever I already have, well, in essence, sometimes you're actually giving them more because of that 5% fee.
Yeah. And other companies, they, instead of it being off of the commission, they do a small percentage, but it comes off of the sales price, so it actually becomes pretty significant. Nicole and Sim, I think you're pretty familiar with that.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
Sam and I left our big box brokerage, I think we were both surprised, which is shame on us for not knowing, but we were both surprised. I know that I was close to $500,000 in admin fees in 1 year alone, and it was very eye-opening.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I just want to work. I don't really look at the numbers behind the scenes and stuff, but when you sit down and look at it, it's over 6 figures what you're paying all these big box companies, and they also charge you monthly fees and desk fees and office fees and E&O fees besides all that percentage. So with us, there is no extra fees. It's your split with our company, and that's it. There's no extra fees, which saves our agents a lot of money. And that's one of the reasons we can hire a lot of new agents. And most of our new agents make over 6 figures their first year because they love it. That they're not nickel and diming, and they don't have to put up their credit card every month. They just work and make commissions, which is an amazing thing.
Now, all those junk fees, they look small, when they come
they
one
add
at a
up.
time, but when they add up big time. Any other words of wisdom that you would like to share? All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us today, and hope you got some great tips and tips from David, Nicole, and Samantha. And please, feel free to reach out to us too. We're always happy to help our fellow partners, recruit and grow and build a better business for themselves and for the network here at Side. And Nicole, I saw you raise your hand there.
I did. I don't know how to do the virtual hand raise. I know there's like a thing here, but I had a quick question if you guys don't mind. I think we have a little extra minutes. David and Sam, do you guys have I know Sam's story, and I'd love her to quickly share that, but tell us about your worst hire and what happened, and were you slow or quick to fire? Because I know my worst one, I was so slow and it was painstaking, and I kind of don't want to feel alone in that. So tell me it took you a while too.
Well,
So go ahead, David. You can go, David.
I knock on wood, I have been lucky enough that I have not had to fire anyone. But I have made a lot of mistakes going down rabbit holes with agents that I tried to recruit, that I am so thankful that it didn't work out. I thought I wanted agents that were $50 million producers, that were doing a similar business that I was, and I spent time recruiting, and these weren't the right fits. So I think it's also really important to go after the right people, not just quantity, but quality. And quality is not necessarily how much people produce. Instead, I pivoted, and I now recruit the right people, good people, people that are fit in. But I have definitely made mistakes, and instead of hiring the wrong people, I spent countless hours recruiting the wrong people.
I've only had to fire one person, and that was a friend of my partner's. And she joined us for the wrong reason. She's trying to leverage us to promote herself and get into more commercial deals and want a piece of the action. She was a busybody, loves to tell everybody what her thing is. And then behind their back would be a negative naysayers. She would talk badly about me to my partner and the agent, and then she'll talk negative about the agents. I just got tired one day. I came back to the office after showing properties, and she just went off on me, and I didn't react. I let it sit in. I text my partner. I told her what happened. She goes, just fire her. I waited 5 hours, and then I sent her a text, and I go, I don't know what side of the bed you woke up on, but you have no right to treat me like that. You scare the agents in the office, and this is unacceptable. I'm sorry, but I have to let you go. And that's the only person I had to let go. Everybody else, everybody else has come and gone on their own free will, and sometimes it's not a right fit for them, and they want just a flat fee, and those agents are still not successful. They're closing only a few deals a year, so their mindset isn't there yet. I mean, this is this business, you have to put the time and effort, and if you have the determination and drive, you're going to be successful. But if you're thinking about your paycheck and what you're paying, this and that, and you want a flat fee, then our company is not the right fit for you, because we do so much for the agent. It's the mentorship that's the most valuable thing. A lot of other successful agents doesn't want to hire agents because you're sharing a piece of your knowledge, you're sharing a piece of your name out there, and they think it's a competition. For Judy and myself, we don't think it's a competition. If we can help each of our agents make six figures, every single one, we are extremely proud of that, and helping them build their portfolio assets. Each of our agents, one by one, are buying their own home, and we want to be celebrating that milestone with them. And then we want to put deals together, do flips together, buy multi-units together. So our team is super excited about the opportunities that we have for them. And that's, I think, one of the reasons they want to join the bandwagon and join Portfolio. And we are growing rapidly, not by choice, just by referrals.
That is awesome. Well, thank you all very much for joining us today, and hope that everybody on the call was able to learn something new that they can take back and implement back at home. And I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their day. Thank you.